This is enough now. I've had it.
That's wrong and misinformation. Every scientific test cleared us of everything.
We can't comment, we don't know anything of it.
My tragedy is very large. A very affectionate child.
I think it's too painful.
Hemraj is working for us. I don't really need to say anything about it.
I had Aarushi with me while in jail.
I can't really talk about all this.
I'm sorry, I can't do more of this now.
It was a very difficult day in the sense that, obviously we were pretty stressed out of, and tense about whatever, about the verdict at that time. And there's no television there, so we couldn't really see television. We were just sitting in, at a certain place there. And suddenly a group of, one person came and first looked at me, and then after that there was a group of boys who all of them knew us, and they came running and hugged us and told us that the appeal had been accepted and we had been that's how we got to know. And it was very we were crying, both of us were crying. We were very it was very emotional moment because and that's how we told this. We suddenly got to know, and then it was a big sense of relief. A big load had been lifted, from my back, and I was very, very grateful to God and Vaheguru that we had been vindicated. Our stand had been vindicated by the High Court, and of course I didn't know the details of the judgment at that time.
The news spreads very fast there, so I think somebody heard on television someplace that we'd been acquitted here. A lady came running, and suddenly everybody was so emotional. There was a lot of hugging, and it was. I found the whole thing so unbelievable. It was a miracle. I mean, I felt a great miracle had just happened. Very emotional moment, and I broke down. Then lots of other women broke down, and then we were allowed to meet after that for a short while. The officials were kind enough to let us meet. We met, but then of course in a place like that you're surrounded by so many people, and everybody was hugging and congratulating, and it was but for us it was a very, very emotional moment for us. Aarushi, and we were really missing Aarushi at that time and thinking of Aarushi at that time. I mean, that's one tragedy that we can never put past.
It's always, after being confined for so long, you suddenly come into freedom, or you suddenly step out. And we could see a lot of people outside. We could see that this was had attracted a lot of attention. So it's a little scary. It's to face people, to face the world, to go back into the world, into society. It's a difficult thing. It's something which you have to slowly, learn. And I'm grateful to a friend of mine who helped me or both of us actually. When I say talk about myself, I'm talking about both of us. Helped us to, face the world in a much more better way, and they gave us the confidence to be able to step out. And of course we had to step out. I mean, that you can't stay in jail, but you step out, and then you have to be a part of society again, which is what is the biggest challenging part. Public perception has changed dramatically. People, when we went to the Golden Temple immediately after our release, there were people coming up to us who showed their sympathy and their empathy towards us. They said things that wrong has happened with you. In fact, at the Golden Temple, the Sevadar was there. It was very crowded. at that time. It was near Diwali, and at this time, very near Diwali, and it's crowded. He let us in. He saw us and he recognized us, and he let us in without any standing in the queue. And when we came out, he was very, very sympathetic, and said that something wrong had been righted. I think as far as inside last time, most people believed that we were innocent. And in fact, I didn't meet anybody who really said that or talked to us in a way, not believing in us. So most people believed in us there. There was a time when there was an extreme period of hopelessness, and after the bail was rejected and the appeal was not being heard. It had been put on hearing, but it was not been heard yet. So that was a time when we were pretty much. In fact, that's the time when we met. Our friend came into our life and gave us some hope. Hope about everything, about how to live in jail, how to help people. No, actually, basic idea is we got a lot of strength. He told us to help people, not only dental work. Just talk to people, and when you talk to people, when you realize everybody is in pain, everybody is suffering. There are a lot of innocents there, a lot of them. He came into our life about 2 years before this, 2 years after we had been in there, and he just came. He was not related. He just came and he saw that we were suffering, we were in trouble, and he saw that we were also innocent, and he could see that, and he could, he felt for us, and he helped us, and that's how we, managed to survive the rest of the time.
I think the first 2 years we were very miserable. We were in a lot of fear. We were feeling absolutely hopeless, as if there's nothing in sight for us and no hope for us. 6 months later, the bail got rejected, and it seemed as if all our hopes to get out are gone now. So that phase lasted. It was a very difficult phase, a very dark phase, and lasted for close to 2 years.
Confinement is not an easy thing to face, firstly, and also losing your freedom, facing a stigma, and suddenly put behind bars. But the strange and the very nice thing about this was, maybe I don't should use the word nice, but it was something that was amazing. That was the way the people out there had reacted to our conviction. And it was, they were very, very supportive. At the minute I went there, nobody really, said anything to me, or they were all very nice. They would come up and talk to me. They would, tell me that this will be over after a while. You don't have to worry about it. And slowly we got used to life, living there. It took a while. I was offered to work, I offered to work as a dentist, and they didn't have a clinic, which was just a rudimentary kind of clinic, which was very, very basic clinic. And then they asked the college to, there was the dental college which was supporting that clinic at that time. So I was used to work in that college. So I asked them to put some better equipment and all that, which they did. And the authorities were also helpful in that. They wanted me to work there, and I felt that if I work, I will be able to, one, serve people, and two, also distract my mind and do some seva, help people. So I thought I'll be able to do that. So I started doing that after that, and Nupur also started doing that. Both of us were working there. So people were very grateful, and because of that, I got a lot of respect there also.
3 months after she was born, I went back to work, and I'd leave her there and then pick her up only when I would come back in the evening. So the entire day she stayed with mom, and mom brought her up from day one. I remember her telling me once that she wants to be very famous.
I remember her love, her affection, a very affectionate child, very kind, very compassionate, loved her friends a lot, and took care of even, people who were less fortunate than her. I remember, one of her friends had lost her father, and when I gifted her a few things, she took that for her friend. So she was like that, very compassionate and very loving.
Very loving. It's been a huge tragedy, immense pain and suffering. There's been so much anguish. Losing Aarushi has been and will always be completely irreparable, inconsolable. But there has been, I think, a transformation inside as a person. Probably begin to understand what life is about, what life means, about faith and about being grateful, about God. Yes, it's a huge void which this lifetime will never be able to fill. Nothing can ever fill that. But I did begin to see Aarushi in a lot of girls while in jail. There are little girls who come in with their mothers, the little girls, little boys, little children, like the young girls as well. And in particular, there was a young girl who I grew very close to. She used to sleep on the next bed or whatever you could call it, probably the next space. And I could see a lot of Aarushi in her. She cared for me. She spoke to me as if Aarushi did. She would kind of, for me it was as if I had Aarushi with me while in jail. I mean, those 4 years I survived in jail because of the fact that I had this young girl with me.
I think it's probably the worst suffering that any human can go through is to lose your child, and that in such a manner. And it's been very difficult, extremely difficult for the last 9.5 years since this incident, and we're still standing there. It's very difficult to go on from there, but you try to seek happiness or seek relief or seek consolation from helping others, from helping people in suffering, from looking at little girls, helping them. It's not something that one can face. It's an adversity which is impossible to face. We've just survived it, that's all. I'm not a lawyer, and I've read parts of the judgment. I've not read the entire thing, but I have read quite a bit. And to my mind, I mean, from whatever I can think, it's almost like a complete exoneration. And the rest is, it's not for me to say. I don't know. It's something which is very clear to everybody. I don't need to repeat it again and again. Everything is visible to you, to people who are going through the judgment, to everything. So I really don't need to say anything. It's up to the... I mean, I want to now, just live with Aarushi's memories and do some work for her, and that's it. I don't want to do anything else. So if something can happen, and if the system can improve, and this should never happen to anybody again, then so that's what should be there. The system should improve. See its own issues and improve them.
God is the biggest judge, so we've kind of just left it. and let it be now. Whatever happens, whichever way he takes us, we'll go that way.
I think, like she said, we'll leave it to God now. We'll just leave it to God. We'll just want to. Whatever he does now, it'll be for the best. While he was there, I obviously didn't have any. We were okay. My interaction with him was very limited. I was working in that clinic only twice a week. But apart from that, that's what it was. Okay.
I also had no interaction with him at all. I went to the Noida clinic only 2 hours in a week. And that's about the kind of interaction. And the others, there was no interaction at all. That process was on, we were actually very, very shocked. I mean, unexpected for us. Never thought.
I think everything is now, on paper. It's there. Everybody can see it. I don't really need to say anything about it. It's too painful. I can't really talk about all this. I don't think we should talk about. Like I said, everything is there on paper now. So it's for everybody else to read it and see what it was like. What can I say about that? There's a court which has gone through this completely. So it's not relevant.
I think this is enough now. I've had it. I'm sorry, I can't do more of this now. I think we've done a fair amount of it.
That's not correct. That's not correct. That's wrong and misinformation. Every scientific test cleared us of everything. See, this is a scientific test. What they do, what's their process is something which I don't know. It's for the experts to finally decide what it was. And as far as that is concerned, that was fine.
I think it's too painful. I wouldn't want to talk about it at all. We just have to go ahead of this now. Can't comment.
I have no comments on that because this is all misinformation. I mean, I know nothing about this.
We can't comment. We don't know anything of it.
Well, yeah, Hemraj was working for us, and he was a victim, and it is, personally, I feel for him. It's not that I don't feel for him. I feel for him. Of course, my tragedy is very large, but I still feel for him, and I would want to do whatever I can. I'm also still going into society. I'm going to have to stand on my own feet. People are supporting me at the moment. So I'm trying to go back into society, and whatever help I can do for him, I'll gladly do that. Not a problem. Nobody's ever approached me for it. Nobody's ever asked me for it. So, but I can always do. We wanted to help him. It's not that we didn't want to help him at that time. We did try also, but we didn't get any kind of a response at that time. And I'm still willing. Whatever I can do in whichever way I can, I'll do. I mean, I want to now, just live with Aarushi's memories and do some work for her, and that's it. I don't want to do anything else.
It's very painful for me, and I don't wish to continue this.